VIBErations Podcast Part 2, Hinitan Plantation Coffee. Hi, I'm Gary Brightman, and this is my weekly podcast pronounced VIBErations, but spelt VIBErations. Vibe is a book and music shop situated on Lantau Island in Hong Kong, established in May 2018. In this week's episode, VIBErations Podcast Logo Competition, what's been going on over the last week, a book review, interview with Stephen Ballantyne of Hinitan Plantation Coffee, and finally a shout out to a local Lantau business. So we're into the second podcast, having got over the awkward first episode. Maybe this is an equally awkward second episode. You'll be the judge. Last week we kicked off a competition to design a logo for VIBErations Podcast based on our existing Vibe logo, offering a massive 500 Hong Kong dollars as a prize. It's more about the kudos than the life-changing cash it offers. We have a couple of entrants already. Okay, so one of those is me. Still, a step in the right direction. A reminder that if you wish to enter, simply email me at vibehk@icloud.com and I'll send you the Vibe logo, and you'll have until the 3rd of October to submit your entry. So what's been happening at the shop over the last week? Well, I took on 2 new concessions, making it a total of 52 now. The Mekong Review is a quarterly English language literature magazine on Southeast Asia, especially Cambodian, Burmese, Vietnamese, Laotian and Thai literature. However, in this quarter's review it also includes articles on Hong Kong. We now sell both granulated and bean coffee. More about that in our interview with Stephen Ballantyne later. We took delivery of my newly designed Vibe polo shirts and t-shirts. To promote them, I did a photo shoot yesterday with 2 local Lantau business friends, Sol Leader of Leader Key Wine Merchants and Eslyn Terragina of Tails Small Animal Rescue Charity. The brief was What's Your Vibe Today? And you can see the resulting poster on our usual channels, which includes Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, an emailing list and our website. The book section. Having finished The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albon a couple of weeks ago, I went on to read Tuesdays with Maury. The main theme centres around what you can learn about life through death. The book is about a professor, Maury Schwartz, who has amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, known as ALS. One of Maury's former students, Mitch Albon, had Maury as a professor in one of his classes in college. I found it both moving and very life-affirming. I've now started reading Hello Darlings, the authorised biography of ex-DJ and TV funny man Kenny Everett. And now for the interview with Stephen Ballantyne of Hinitan Plantation Coffee. It was an English novelist, Anthony Trollope, that said, "What on earth could be more luxurious than a sofa, a book and a cup of coffee?" Today we're ticking off all 3 of these items with Stephen Ballantyne, who is here to talk about our newest concession in Vibe, Hinitan Plantation Coffee. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Gary. It's good to be here, actually, and we're very, very proud to now have our coffee in store with you.
So we know each other through documentary film production. However, this is a totally different gig. Coffee?
Yes. Well, we do know each other very, very well. 20 years of my life I've been in the film industry, and through that I discovered an absolute passion for coffee. And then 7 years ago, with my partner, set up a fully operational coffee plantation in the Philippines called Hinitan. And over that time we have grown, and we now produce a very high quality heritage coffee called Barako.
The plantation, do you have anything directly to do with it, or do you just source the coffee from there?
No, we built it from scratch, actually. So when we bought the first plot of land, it was just pure jungle. We now have the second largest coffee plantation in the province of Batangas in the Philippines. And so we don't source it, we actually grow it ourselves, we manage it, and we roast it, and we package it, and you are buying directly from the plantation, which makes the whole process very, very sustainable. And that's a key element of how we operate the farm. Sustainability today is hugely important. People want to know and trust where their coffee has come from. And when you buy Hinitan coffee, you know it has been either carefully sourced from across Asia or actually grown on our plantation.
Is this the sort of thing that people just go out and do, or did you have to do some sort of research, or did you know somebody locally?
It is terribly hard to do. I think, when we set out, we actually set out on creating a small farm that would be really for personal use only. As we got more involved in farming, we decided to make it a very, very large operation. We have been very lucky to have been able to work with and continue to work with a lot of specialists in the coffee industry in the Philippines. And so our manager, the farm manager, Joanne, and we have a very important policy that all our management team are women actually on the farm. They have all been trained in coffee management. We have a consultant who has over 30 years experience who constantly visits the farm, and actually while we're talking is on the farm today, evaluating how we are growing, what we need to do, how we develop. And so we have a lot of support from professionals working with us.
So does this mean you're wholly transitioning over to coffee making from filmmaking, or a bit of both?
At the moment it's definitely 80% film production, and 20% of my time is spent on now actually getting the Hinitan brand out to our contacts in Hong Kong. It's the running of the day-to-day running of the farm is very much down to the team who are there, and the big plan was to move to the farm this year and be a lot more involved in that, but under the present circumstances that just was not a practical thing to do, and so we're staying in Hong Kong for another year. I will continue running our production company, but at the same time developing the Hinitan brand has become a key focus about our long-term future. And we are proud to have our coffee in a whole range of different environments. We're not looking at going into the large supermarkets. We know our target audience are, just like your opening statement, people who love books, who love artisan, well-made products. And so we are open to putting our stock in a variety of very exciting stores across Hong Kong.
Yes, and we're really excited now to be stocking your coffees at the shop. Well, I'm looking at the packets now, and they're a sort of powder French blue pack, very appealing, with a sort of jungle and monkey design on them. Can you tell us a little bit about the different brands you have and what we'll be selling here at the shop?
Yeah, the packaging was designed to really reflect the farm. We're situated just outside of Manila and on a big lake called Tao Lake, which is very famous because it has the second most active volcano on the lake. And as you may remember, in January this year, the volcano erupted and significantly impacted the farm. But at the same time, when we built and started buying the farm, we knew this was going to be a problem, or potential problem. However, the good side about that is we get very good quality volcanic soil, rich in nutrients, which is just perfect soil for growing coffee. So the types that we have in store now, we have decided to stock initially with you all coffees from the Philippines, because that's the home of Hinitan. So we had the Baracco coffee, which is very strong. Baracco actually means strong man. And, in the 18th century, this coffee was brewed very traditionally, but just putting into a pan and roasting it on a fire. And people use this for energy. It's a heritage coffee. It's now an endangered species, and we've devoted the whole farm to preserving this, what we consider is a very, very special coffee. And we hope you think the same. To counterbalance that, we've actually got some beautiful Arabica coffees from the northern mountains. These are very subtle flavors, very fruity, very light roast, and so make a very nice contrast. So, in my average coffee day, I will start my day off with a big cup of strong Baracco coffee. As I graduate through my day, I will often turn to one of our Arabicas, which is a more gentle ride through the day, I guess. And then the last one that we've added into the collection is something that's brand new to us. We've spent a lot of time working with our roasters in the Philippines to put together a blended coffee. Now, this is an Excelsa Robusta blend. It's much, much lighter. It's perfect everyday drinking coffee, and actually also makes a fantastic cold brew. So we would love to show your customers how to make cold brew with this, because it's very easy to do, and it's a very versatile coffee.
Okay, yeah. I mean, excellent. That does bring us on to, actually, at the moment, we're going to be selling the packets in the shop. There'll be both ground and bean coffee for grinding. However, unfortunately, we can't actually serve you cups of coffee in the shop today. Reason being, we have to have a special beverage license, and we'll be looking at getting one of those perhaps later in the year. You did also just touch on the possibility of a pop-up, though, so that sounds quite interesting.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're doing pop-up cafes across Hong Kong. I personally live on Lama, where we've done a pop-up cafe there. We're looking at doing one in Central, and we would love to do one here. We set up for 1 week. It gives local communities the opportunity to try our coffee either in hot or in iced form, and it's just great fun. It's really great fun, and you get to we'll give some free samples away, but also it is a working cafe, and we'd love to do it with you guys.
Hopefully in the coming weeks, months, we'll set something up, and through our usual channels we'll let everybody know when we're going to be doing that. Just finally, I suppose, what sort of price are people going to be paying for these packets, and roughly, how many cups would they get out of a pack?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually, and I think we're trying to do a variation on price ranges. So our own Baracco coffee is, all the coffees we sell are in 200 gram packs. Our own coffee we sell for $85. The Arabicas we sell for $95, and then for the new blend we're doing that at a really great price at $75. This is much lower than the average price for these handcrafted artisan coffees. We want to try and be competitive, but at the same time we've got a big farm to run, so we hope we've hit the mark with the pricing. And then per bag, depends on how you're brewing. Many of your customers will have very different brewing techniques. If you prefer using a French press, then you'll probably get about 10 large French press servings out of a bag. If you're using an espresso maker, then you'll probably get about 20.
Okay, excellent. All right, so these are exciting times, I think, for me and Vibe, and for our local community here in Moi Wo and on Lantau Island also. We're looking forward to bringing coffee to the local community. We hope you'll enjoy it. The coffee is on sale as of today. Stephen has given the prices, very reasonable and competitive prices, I believe. Please pop down and come and see us, and we'll have a chat with you about it.
Gary, thank you, and thank you to everyone in Moi Wo. We are absolutely thrilled to now see the Hinitan plantation coffee for sale in Moi Wo.
And finally, this week's shout out to a local Lantau business goes to Cafe Paradiso. Located in central Moi Wo opposite the Welcome supermarket and a short walk from the ferry pier. This food and beverage cafe was established by Tom Midgley around 15 years ago. Tom's dog-friendly cafe is open daily from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. weekdays and 6 p.m. on weekends. In future weeks, we'll interview Tom for this podcast. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for listening to the second book and music shop podcast called VIBErations. I'm Gary Brightman. You get my vibe?
Can you imagine what this old island must have looked like to those Dutch sailors when they first saw it? Fresh green. Like a dream of a new world.
They must have held their breath. Afraid it would disappear before they could touch it.